Hi, and welcome to BremSter Puzzles, a channel where I try and showcase the fun that can be had in the world of variant Sudoku. And today I'm doing a puzzle that comes with a bit of a warning. First of all, I have no idea how to pronounce the name of this puzzle. Spukhafte Ferndomino? Possibly, I'm really not sure. This is by Ddraig, and this puzzle has been through my testing, and everyone who tested this turned around and said they had to revisit the rules partway through the solve because their initial interpretation of what the rules meant was wrong. So they had to roll back and revisit and basically start again. So they warned me to go through the rules quite carefully before I started recording. I think I've done that and I've got an idea of how the rules work. The other thing that I discovered while setting this one up is this puzzle does not work in many browsers. This puzzle, I don't know where it's been published, but this was sent through to me. But this puzzle does not work in Firefox. It doesn't seem to work in Safari. It does work in Chrome. It does seem to work in Edge. I haven't tested it on any mobile browsers, but I don't expect it's going to work on your phones or anything like that. So this puzzle has not been through testing, but a lot of these symbols that are in the corners and everything, they could have been done without using these special arrows. You could have just used a regular arrow, and these dots could have just been done using regular dots, but they've been done using emoticons instead, and that has meant that this only renders on a very limited set of stuff. So this puzzle is one where if you load it and it doesn't work, I'm not going to try and reset this puzzle. Just go away. Just don't try and attempt this puzzle. This puzzle has been created for people who are prepared to spend a lot of time figuring out the rules, and then for people who are on a very restricted browser set. Would it be possible to set this puzzle without those restrictions? Very easily. But that's not what's been done. And I'm not going to redo the puzzle. This is the way it has been created by the puzzle creator. Yeah, as I said, there's multiple ways of putting arrows into the grid and everything. This could have been done in a different way, but it hasn't been. I personally not a fan, but I've been told the puzzle is really good, and I'm sharing the creation, so this is the way it goes. So if you have problems loading it or anything, you can leave a comment below, but there's nothing I can do about that. This puzzle is as published by the creator. So what do we have? This is a very weird puzzle. It's got a rule called long distance dominoes, and I think I understand how it works, so let's go through it. So what do we have? We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So in every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. We've got XV, which is actually XV pairs, digits in cells separated by a V sum to 5, digits in cells separated by an X sum to 10. We've got Kropki, so digits in cells separated by a black dot are in a 2-to-1 ratio, and cells separated by a white dot are consecutive. All good there. Then we've got the long distance dominoes. Dotted cages represent one half of a long distance domino. The other half is in another box of the grid, but in the same position within that box as the cage cell. So for example, the other half of this domino is in a different box, but in a cell which is in the same position. So for example, the other half of this domino is in one of those cells, but we don't know which yet. There'll be other rules that will get us further. In the top left corner of the cage are symbols indicating the type of domino and the direction of the box with its other half. X's and V's and black and white dots in cages work as above, except they connect the long distance cells. So again, if we look here, or possibly, actually, let's look here. This arrow indicates that the other half of this is in an X relationship. So one of the other cells in the other position is in an X relationship with that cell. Arrows in cages indicate the direction in which the paired cell's box lies. Directions are taken from the center of each box, not the cell itself. From the center of each box. No, I actually did not get this right. So this is saying that in this direction, so because this arrow is pointing down, that means that it is the arrow is pointing down from here, not from here, and it means that the other half of this is in one of these two boxes and therefore must be one of those two. From here, it would be Right, this is indicating that the other half of this cell, because it's pointing from the center of the box, this is pointing at this diagonal, and therefore the other half of this must be there. This is very strange. Where multiple clues and or arrows exist within a cage, all clues and arrows must be satisfying at least one long distance domino. Where multiple clues and or arrows exist in a cage, all clues and arrows must satisfy at least one long distance domino. So for example, in this one, both arrows must be fulfilled by a V clue. One in this direction and one in this direction, which will be one of these two boxes. Okay. Now there's an example here. If row 5, column 2 contains a 4, then the black dot indicates that either that cell or that cell, because the arrow is pointing in this direction, that cell or that cell must be a 2 or an 8. That's the rules of the puzzle. Long distance dominoes, incredibly strange. The important thing, and this is probably the bit where I actually missed it on my first read through, but probably where a lot of the solvers go wrong, is the arrows are actually pointing from the center of the box, not from the cell they're in. And remember that these arrows, because they were done using a special emoticon rather than the SVG arrows, will only render on a very small number of browsers. I actually can't use my normal browser for this. This is very strange. I'm going to restart the puzzle to restart my timer. Let's give this a shot. So the obvious place to start is here, isn't it? Because this is a run of 3 black dots. Now on a black dot, we have to double as we go along, because we couldn't go, for example, 1, 2 and back to 1. So this could go 1 to 2 to 4 or 2 to 4 to 8. It can't go 3, 6, 12 because we can't put 12 in. So this is either 1, 2, 4 or 2, 4, 8. So the middle has to be 2 or 4. But this can't be a 2, because if this is a 2, these are 1 and 4. But if this is a 2, these are 1 and 3, and there's 2 1. So this is absolutely a 4. These are 2 and 8, and these are 3 and 5. Okay, but this has to be a V clue with something in another direction. And it can't be, in order to be a V partner, it has to be something lower than 5, because the V this and another cell has to sum to 5. But because it's 2 different digits summing to 5, because 5 is odd, therefore it can't be 5 and 5. It can't be 5, or it can't be 2 of the same digit, because that would lead to an even total, and 5 is odd. This has to be a digit below 5, and it can't be 2, 3, or 4. So that is a 1. And these are not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9 is what these are. But there's a 1. There must be a 4 over here in either that position or that position. And there must be a 4 down here in either that position or that position. Okay. So that is kind of a weird skyscraper in 4s, because in this direction the 4 must be in one of those two, and in this direction the 4 must be in one of those two. So I can never put 4 in any of those cells. Because if I put a 4 here, in this row, the 4 would have to be here, which would mean this couldn't be a 4, but this couldn't be a 4, and I couldn't put a 4 in either of those, which would break this diagonal where I have to put the other half of the V on one of those two cells to match the line that's going down here. I don't think I'm explaining this very well, but this is a really tricky puzzle. So this is an X clue. Well, it could be 1, 9, it could be 2, 8, it can't be 3, 7 or 4, 6. So this is 1, 9 or 2, 8. This can't have a 1 or a 4 on it, because the 4 has to be one of those two. So this has to be 3, 6. Because I can't use 1, 2. So you can never use 5, 7 or 9 on a black dot, because there's no possible partner for them. So the only way you can do it is with a low digit 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's even double. This can't be 1, 2 because there's no 1 available. It can't be 2, 4 because the 4 has to go in one of those to match this. It can't be 4, 8. So this is 3, 6, and I can't put 6 on a V clue. So this is the 3, this is the 6, this is the 2. That puts 3 down here, but the 2 means this isn't 2, 8. This is 1, 9. 3 is down here. Now, does this have to be 3, 2? If that's 3, that's 7. 3, 6. What could this be? It can't be... what can this be, actually? It can't be 1, 2. It can't be 2, 3. It can't be 3, 4. It could be 4, 5. It can't be 5, 6. It can't be 6, 7. It could be 7, 8. It can't be 8, 9. But if this is 4, 5, the 4 would have to be there and the 5 would have to be there. I think this is the only way this can go. Oh, the 6 comes out of there. Hmm. 3 is down here. Does this have to be 3, 2? Yes, it does. This is a V clue that can't include a 1. This is 2, 3, which means this is the 8, this is the 2. This is not a 3. And this has to have a low digit on it. Right. This must have a low digit on it because every X clue needs to be a low digit plus a high digit. I can't use 2 high digits. If I don't use a digit below 5, then the minimum this could be, it'd be 5, 5, which is 10, but it's 2 5s, and I can't put 2 5s in the same column. So the minimum would be 6 and 7, and that's broken. But I don't have 1, 2, or 3 available. This is 4, 6, which means this isn't the 4. So this isn't the 5. This is a 7, 8. This is the 4. Which means this isn't the 4, this is the 4, because of the way I explained the 4s earlier. And 1, 2, 3, 4, this is a 5. And we've got an X clue in a 5. I knew that was probably going to happen at some point. There'd be a diagonal X pointing at a 5, which puts a 5 in one of those two. The 7, 8 makes this the 9, taking 9 out of those. This has to be a part of a V clue and it can't be 2, 3, or 4. That's a 1. The 6, 7 is looking back, making that the 4 and that the 6. These are known. I've got the 1, 2, 3. I've got the 3, 4, 5. I've got the 6. This is a 7, 8 pair. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are 5 and 9. So the 1... Oh, no. This is pointing from here. So because it's pointing from here, the only box that partner could be in is this one. So this one's partner has to be there, and that becomes a 4. So this is 3 or 5, giving us a 3, 5 pair, and this is 2, 4, or 6, and it's not 4. So this is only 2 or 6. But that partner needs to be here or here. So there's a 6 in one of those two, because the box is being connected to by looking from here, but it's the same box. This is a very strange puzzle. Row 5 does look quite restricted. Oh, this can't be 2, 4, or 8, but it's got a black dot relationship. And the only black dot digits you can use and it is pointing horizontally, so I don't have to worry. Yeah, the only black dot relationships you can use in the same row are 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, 6, or 4, 8. So this could be a 1. It can't be 2, 4, or 8. So it's 1, 3, or 6. And it's pointing to here or here. If that's a 1, that would have to be a 2. If that's a 1, one of those would have to be a 2. I couldn't put a 2 there. I could put a 2 there. If this is a 3 or a 6, I'd have to put a 3 or a 6 in one of those, and that seems okay. This has got an X relationship with... Let's draw this line in, because I'm getting very confused. Yeah, it is just down there. So the relationship... I'll get rid of the line in a minute, of that cell is with either that one or that one. The relationship of that cell, actually, that cell's partner must be that one. And they're in a V relationship. So this has to be 1, 2, 3, or 4, but it can't be a 1. So this is 2, 3, or 4. So this is 1, 2, or 3. It can't be 3 because of the 3, 5 pair. There's no 3 there, so there's no 2 there. So if this is 3 or 4, this is 6 or 7. But this has an X relationship with either that cell or that cell. How, this is very strange. But I still need to put a 5 here or here. But I could put a 5 here. Can I put a 5 here? I think so. This is consecutive with either 6, 7, or 2. Because that is pointing to there or there. So it could be 1 or 3, or 5, 6, 7, or 8. Or, no, it could be 1. If this is pointing here, this is a 1 because it can't be a 3. If it's pointing here, this is 5, 6, 7, or 8. This is in a X relationship. Oh, this is in an X relationship with one of those two cells, but neither of those can be a 4. So that is a 7. And one of those is a 3. Does that do anything? It means that neither of these can be a 3. So this can't be a 6. Because if this is a 3, that's a 4. If this is a 3, that's a 2, that's a 3, and that can't be a 3. So one of these having to be a 3. No, but this could be a 3 and that could be a 3. So that's not true. If that's a 3, that's a 4. Oh, this can't be a 3. If this is a 7, if this is a 3, this would have to be consecutive with 3 and it couldn't be 2. So this would be 3, 4 and break that cell. This is the 3, meaning that's the 2 and that's the 3. I have to admit, I don't think... And this is consecutive with 3, so it's 2 or 4. One of those is a 6. Okay, the 7 is done. It's marked in grey. The 1 is done. Is it? Yeah, the 1 is done. It's connecting to that 4. This 4 needs to point to a 1 here. Oh, this 4. No, it's in an X. It's a 6 here or a 6 here. The 4 is not done. The 1 is pointing at that 4. That is done. The 5 isn't done. This 4. So I've actually done very few clues. I've only done 2 clues. No, this 1 is done. I feel like I've done more than that. Three is down here somewhere. If that's a 3, that's a 2. If that's a 3, 4, 5, or 2, 1. I think this row is where it is, but I can't see... Like, apart from chaining all of this, if this is this, then this is one of these is this, and that pushes back, putting something else. I'm not clear how... Like, if this is 6... That's a... Oh, this can't be a 6. If this is a 6, one of those two would have to be a 3, and neither of them can be. So that's not a 6. This is 1 or 3. If this is a 1, then that's a 2. If that's a 3, then one of those two is a 6. 1, 2... doesn't work because then this would need to be 8. This would need to have a 2 partner somewhere. If this was a 1, the only place I could put the 2 in one of those 2 cells would be here. But this needs an X partner. And it needs a consecutive partner somewhere. But 1, 2 would need an 8 in one of those 2 cells. But I can't do that. So this is a 3. And one of those 2 is a 6. But this is a 4, this is a 6, and this is now done. This V is meaning that this is a 1. And those, I'm going to get rid of those colours, and I'm going to say the 4 and the 3 are now done. But this isn't. This is in an X relationship with one of those 2. So it's can only be 4 or 7, but it's got to be consecutive with one of those 2, which is also 4 or 7. So this could be either 4 or 7. Because if it's 4, it's in an X relationship with that and consecutive with that. If it's 7, it's in an X relationship with that and consecutive with that. 4 or 7 both work for that. It can't be 4. This is a 7, and it's consecutive with 6 and in an X relationship with that, and that clue is done. That looks like making that the 8 and that the 7. 4 is 6 in one of those 2. This is consecutive now with either 2 or 6. If it's 2, that's a 1. If it's 6, this is 5 or 7. Four is looking down, making that 2, which makes that 6, which makes that 5, and this 5 is now done because it's pointing at that. So this 5 is now done. This consecutive needs an even digit on it. If it's 2, it's there. If it's 8, not sure. What about this? It's in an X relationship. So it can never have a... Right, what digit can it be? Well, it's in an X relationship with one of those. Can this be an 8? Yes. So what can it be? It can be 1. No, it can't be 1, 2, 3. It could be 4. It can't be 5. It could be 6. 4, 6, 8, or 9. So one of those, so if this is 8, it could partner with that. If it's 4, one of those would need to be 6. It can't be 4. If it's 6, one of those would need to be 4, and that doesn't work either. This can't be 6. If it's 8, it could partner with that. If it's 9, one of those needs to be 1. I'd need to put a 1 there, which would mean that would need to be a 2, and it can't be. That's an 8, and it's done because it can automatically partner with that. That means this is an 8 by Sudoku because I can't put 8 in any of those. Two. So what's this? Four is now pointing at 6, so that one is done. The only thing I haven't resolved is this one, assuming I haven't made a fundamental error somewhere, which I probably have. 7 is in one of those 2, 7 is in one of those 2. 1 is down here. What's this column missing? 3, 5, no, the 5 is looking up, making that the 3 and that the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 and 7. These are 2 and 7, which is resolved. 7 and 2. Which puts 2 in one of those 2. 4 is right here. Can't put 4 here because 4 wouldn't be consecutive with either of those. So 4 can't be in those, 4 can't be here, and 4 can't be here. This is a 4. Putting 4 in one of those 2, but the 4 is looking down saying not there. That's a 4. 6 is now in one of those 2 by Sudoku because I can't put 6 in any of those, which puts 6 in one of those 2. It still needs to have a 2 or an 8 on it. I think it's this, but There must be a 4 on this. There's a 4. There's a 4 right in the middle. 4, 4, 4, and 4 means that's a 4. So these are 3 and 5 to be consecutive with the 4, and the 3 can't go there. So that's 5, that's 3. There you go. So what is this now? Could be 1, 2. Can't be 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. Can't be 5. So, well, the only odd digits available, because every consecutive pair must have an odd and an even, but 3, 5, and 7 are not available. So this is either 1, 2, or it's 8, 9 with the 9 there and the 8 there. This still... Yeah, once this is marked as 157, it's kind of done because it'll be just consecutive with one of those. So I think I'm actually done with all of the clues. So this is now just down to some Sudoku. 2 is in one of those. Seven is in one of those two. 1, 3, 6, 9. Or is it this dot? It's got to have a 2 or an 8 on it. But I could put a 3 on that. 3 is actually in one of those two. 3, well, hang on, that can't, no, this can't be 2, 3. Because that can't be a 2 or a 3. So if it's 2, it's 1, 2. And if it's 8, I could put 7 in there though. 5 is down here. Can I force anything onto this dot? No, not quite, but 5 can't be in any of those or any of those. So that's the 5, that's the 7. Now that's a 5 by Sudoku. These are 1, 2, 6, 9. There's no 6 there. But 1, 2, this is a 3, which puts 3 in one of those two. And these are 1, 6, 9. And there's no 6 there. So now that's still not restricted. But there is a 1 in one of those now. Because 1, yeah, I can't put 1 in any of the, yeah, 1, this is 1, 2, 6, 9, but must contain the 1. 1 is in one of those two. So what can I put on this? If that's a 3, that would have to be 2 or 4, and it can't be. That's not the 3, that's the 3. So what can go on this? I can't put a 2 on this because I can't put a 1 or a 3 on it. So there's no 2, 4, or 6 on this. This needs to be from 7, 8, 9, must contain an 8. That's not 8, that's not 9. The 1, 2 looks across saying that's not the 2. This is 6, 7, 8, or 9. Because that's all that's needed for the row. So it's 6, 8, or 9. It can't be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all 6, 8, 9, and there's no 6. This is an 8, 9 pair. This is the 6. The 8, 9 looks back, making that the 2. This is not the 2. The 6 looks across, making that the 9, that the 6, taking 9 out of here. This is 7, 8, and these are 1, 2, and 9. There's no 2 there. There's no 1 there. There's no 2 there. That's the 9, that's the 1, that's the 2. The 1, well, that's not a 1. So this, well, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7, 8, or 9 only. The 9, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are 5, 7, or 8. So this is only 7, 8. Where's 5 in this column? It's there, making that the 3, that the 7. Taking 7 out of all of those. 7 makes that 8, that 9, that 8, that 7. The 9 looks up making that the 5 and that the 9. The 8 looks up making that the 7 and that the 8. This box is missing its 1, taking 1 out of there. The 9 looks across making that the 1, taking 1 out of there. These are 2 and 7, and I can't put a 7 there. That's the 2, that's the 7. The 2 makes that the 1 and that the 2. The 1 looks up making that the 9 and that the 1. This is an 8, 9 for the column. So 1 in this box has to be in one of those two, but it's not there. That's the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to put a 5 in here. It's not there, so it's in one of those two, but that 5 is looking down, saying that's the 5. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. There's no 8 in the bottom row. So 8 is in one of those two, but the 6 is looking down, making that the 9, making that the 8, making that the 6. The 6 looks across, making that the 9 and that the 6, and the 8 looks up, making that the 9 and that the 8. That was tricky. 259 solves in 296 days. I like the puzzle. I'm not a fan of the presentation of the fact that if you open this up on Firefox or, as I said, I also tried to open it on Safari and it didn't render correctly. I think it worked on Edge. This is not a Windows machine, but I've been told it worked on Edge. Then it didn't render correctly. But it is possible to do arrows using the SVG code, which will render on anything, but a choice was made to not do that. Not a fan of it. But the puzzle was interesting. I quite like the long distance dominoes. I think workshopping the rules to make them a little bit clearer is definitely something that could be done, and the presentation could be worked on. But these are things that come with iteration. You get feedback on something and then you work to improve it. Constructive criticism is important to improve. But the puzzle concept is absolutely fascinating. I can mark that grey. Actually, no, the best thing to do is as soon as you're done with colouring, get rid of it. Really good stuff. Thanks everyone for watching. Those of you who got that far, as I said, warning at the start, many of you probably wanted to tune out. But yeah, interesting little puzzle. Thanks everyone, and as always, good luck with your solving.